What is up? We are your Colorado real estate family, and if you're planning on moving into or living in Colorado, this video right here, we're going to go over what it takes to be a Colorado pro, being active and also adaptive.
All right, let's go. If it's your first time to our channel, Chelsea and Pete here, and if you're interested in moving to Colorado, Denver, or any of the surrounding cities, we're the people that you need to know. So do yourself a favor, hit the subscribe button down below, the notification bell. We put out 2 videos at least a week.
At least a week. All right, cool. And also, if you are planning on moving into Colorado, licensed real estate agent here, we're helping out so many people just like you with all your real estate needs, looking to buy that home here in Colorado, Denver Metro, and all the surrounding areas. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and dive in. This video is going to be a lot more conversational than what we typically do. Typically, we put pointers out there. We put a bunch of stats and everything. We want to make it a little bit fun and really talk about what it takes to be a Colorado pro. And there's 2 subject lines that we really took down, and it's being active and then also adaptive.
Yeah, so we're going to start with adaptive. So what does that mean? Like when you're like, okay, you're Colorado real estate family, like what do you mean I got to be adaptive to move into your state? Well, there's just a lot of things to consider. And the first thing is kind of that, all the way down to what you drive.
We actually touched on this a little bit in our last video, kind of talking about the 5 mistakes that so many people make when they're moving into Colorado. The vehicle you have does make a difference, all right? So it's like what we've seen personally is like 2 extremes, is where we have one person where they have that rear wheel, like Lamborghini style car. Funny story is a couple years ago, there was actually like a guy who came here, I think it was a Maserati or some crap like that, got stuck in the snow because it was rear wheel drive, like 1,000 horsepower, up on the curb, and then the snow truck came to plow and it freaking buried him in snow because it got stuck in the gutter. You can't have that extreme. The other extreme that we see oftentimes is, you bring in that truck, you bring in that freaking huge monster truck. People are like, yeah, I'm gonna get through the snow like crazy. And then summertime comes around and your gas mileage is freaking horrible.
Guzzling gas.
Yeah.
Now, we're not saying that you have to have a car that fits both seasons, but you need to consider and be adaptive that you're going to be driving your Lamborghini in the summertime and you're going to be driving that big old truck in the wintertime.
Yeah, you don't have to get rid of your Lamborghini. I mean, at least enjoy it because we do have 300 days of sunshine.
We do have plenty of people with beautiful sports cars out there on the roads in the summertime, but do not take that thing out in the wintertime. So either get something that you're going to be able to drive year long that's going to be good in the snow, be able to fit your family and all that, but also that you can enjoy in the summertime and isn't just guzzling gas, because as we know, gas prices are a little bit high right now.
Yeah, and what we've experienced too, so we invest in a few properties out of state, is gas in Colorado isn't the lowest in the United States. Before, Colorado was always kind of on the lower spectrum. I mean, we definitely aren't Colorado or California style prices, but when we traveled to like Missouri, Florida, a few other states, it's cheaper there as well too. So that's something that you're going to want to keep an eye on. You want to make sure you're not getting a gas guzzler, so that you are paying a ton of money in gas during the summertime.
So another thing really quick is we just got back from Florida. If you guys are new to our channel, you don't know probably that we do Airbnbs and we travel a lot with our family, so that we can get to know other states as well and how we can best serve you here in our beautiful state. But when we were over in Florida, like there are several places that are like golf cart communities.
Which is amazing.
It is amazing.
It's super cool. It's like I would love nothing more than to have like a freaking golf cart with a 6-inch lift, spinners, ground effects, and I know it's total get a white boy on my end, but
he is so sending me pictures every day now that we're trying to buy this property out there. But we don't have a lot of that here. So you need to be adaptive. You need to know that your car is you're going to be commuting. It's common to commute here. So, I mean, a lot of our clients will tell us that we don't even know what a commute is. And so I think that it's
traffic. We don't know what traffic is.
And what a long commute really is. But so I think relatively we're still really good there. But if you want to go to the mountains and things like that, you're going to have to adapt to the different climates and elevation and different snow and summer and rain. We have rain, not a lot, but we have some rain, hail, all the things. That leads us into our second thing. So what is another thing you need to be adaptive about? And that is all the way down to the clothes that you wear.
Your clothing, for sure.
And my sister has recently moved out of Colorado. I miss her so much, but she was talking about coming back for the winter, and she's like, Chelsea, I don't even have a winter jacket anymore.
or boots or
and you can't come to Colorado without a winter jacket. Like, you just can't. Like, you're gonna need a winter jacket. You might not need it all the time. Like, you might only wear it like a handful of times, because you can still do lighter jackets and things like that, or layer. We do lots of layers around here.
That is so key to Colorado weather, because it changes on a dime here. And so you can wake up in the morning and you have a complete blizzard, and then come 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the sun's out and you're just like ripping that coat off. So definitely layer up here. Girls love it during the fall time because they get all their pretty like stuff, the cardigans and I don't know, did I say that right? All the girly stuff. You guys like to layer. You just like do all the different
girls.
stuff.
Some girls like summer
You're
stuff.
like, I gotta have this color on my base and this one on my secondary.
He makes fun of me all the time because like I have to like color match. But yes, layering is important. So you can't just come out here also and only wear like snow pants. Well, unless you're in the mountains, I guess sometimes. But snow pants and a big winter jacket, because you're going to be roasting by like the evening typically. So definitely need a layer. Be adaptive. Come prepared. If you're like, say your kid plays baseball or something and it's in the fall, you know, you're going to want to bring a t-shirt to wear. You're going to want to have a jacket, maybe even a hat in the car. Like we put in our car in the wintertime, like gloves and a hat, a scarf, you know, a heavier jacket, and you might not actually wear it that day, but if you do need it and it does change, the weather changes, you're prepared. So being adapted to the weather, having the appropriate clothing on hand, and also being ready to shed it, because we do get a ton of sun.
I rarely wear anything outside of a short sleeve shirt. Yes, I do wear long sleeves from time to time, but I hate it because of how Colorado's weather changes so drastically to where it's like, now what am I going to do? Take my long sleeve shirt off? So most of the time I'm wearing a short sleeve shirt, and then usually I'll just throw on a light jacket if it's cool out. If it's cold, then I'll usually layer up with a couple other ones too. But you got to be adaptive when it comes to our clothing as well too. Make sure that you're super versatile when it comes to clothing.
You got to have, so it's not uncommon, ladies, to have your winter clothes. Then you pack them up in those really cool little bins that go underneath your bed, or you put them all the way downstairs for the entire, whatever season, and then you switch out your clothing. So I know that sounds crazy, but like, that way you still have enough clothing for the the different season. I sound like I have a lot of clothing. I don't have a lot of clothing.
I was gonna say, might be a sign that we need to take a visit to the Ark.
Oh my gosh. But still, we do cycle through seasonal clothing, and a lot of my friends do the same thing. They like put it away for the summer or for the winter and so on. So
All right, cool. So here's another one for you guys too, to be adaptive in Colorado, living like a pro, right? Just like we talk about, is you want to make sure you prepare for those closures. This isn't just in reference to schooling, because there's many times that you have jobs that are downtown Denver. They'll have a snow day as well too. We're like, hey, just stay home, work from home. So what does that kind of look like, being adaptive, to these closures happening in Colorado with the snow? Yeah.
So I do want to touch on the whole job thing, because I honestly think this is only going to happen more, because after 2020 and all the things, we don't say the word, so all the things that changed, we don't say the word anymore. So after all the things that changed, a lot of our industries have shown that it's possible to do your job virtually anyways. So now, like, I think that we are more, how do I say this, more ready to actually have those closures than we ever have been before. So I do predict some of these companies doing snow days more often than they ever have, because they're already set up to be virtual. So I do think that's something. Now, let's talk about schools, okay? Because I don't even have a kid in school, but all of my friends do. And I hear it.
Not for another 2 weeks, we will.
Yeah, Kingsley goes to school in 2 weeks. We have, if you're new to our channel, we have a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And we are just now getting into the weeds of what it's like to have a kid in school. However, our friends all do. And when we were kids, being natives, we had to build tunnels out of the front door.
It didn't get closed down the way it does now.
And you still walk to school. Your mom was like, get your butt out there, put on a jacket, you're fine, walk to school. Now, they think a snowstorm's coming. So the weatherman gets all ramped up. Sorry, weather people out there, but they get all ramped up. They're going off all their things, and they're like, "Oh, big old storm's coming." And everybody, doesn't everyone shut down? They're like, "Oh, no school tomorrow."
The entire thing, the entire city or the portion of the state, the Denver metro area, all completely shuts down. And then all the snow is gone by the afternoon.
It's 4 inches.
You're like, what the heck? And so you have a ton of kids in the middle of school season playing in the streets because they all just got school off for that day.
Yeah, they're like snow day. So snow day used to be so rare that it was oh my, you're like, oh my gosh, are we gonna get a snow day? It's been snowing for 2 days. Are we gonna get a snow day? Now it's oh, a snowstorm's coming. Be prepared. So what does that mean for you? You got to be adaptive. So again, now if your job is really flexible and it allows for those days where you can work from home, that's going to be really helpful because we do have weather-related closures with schools and work and things like that. So in Colorado, most jobs are typical for understanding that when they do actually have that, but just be prepared and adaptive that those things might happen here. So
well, something to kind of throw along those lines. So closures from work, right? So what are you doing? You're working from home. When we are looking at some of these homes and some things that we get kind of feedback when we're helping out clients, buyers who are purchasing a house, making sure you have a workspace, making sure you have an office space, because you may be working from home in Colorado than you would as opposed to somewhere else that didn't have the closures that you did here. So always keep an eye out for that. We always do. It's like, all right, if you are going to be working from home, let's make sure you do have that workspace so that if you do have kids, you're kind of separated from them, you can do that work, or having that office space as well too, so that it's a dedicated space so that when you do work from home, you can do it privately.
Sanity.
Yep.
It's called sanity. Okay, so let's get into number 4. So being adaptive. So typically when our clients will come in from out of state to purchase a home here, they will say, hey, not really sure about Colorado's wildlife. I kind of want to stay out of the mountains. But we need to talk about that.
Yeah, it's not just the mountains.
It's not
like
just mountains.
we literally live probably a good 30 to 40 minutes off the mountains, and we have some crazy wildlife right here. If you have like a tiny little Chihuahua, Taco Bell dog, you might want to keep them outside here because we got coyotes, we got gray horned owls, and
hawks.
Something might, you got hawks, and
Big old hawk.
they might take them away. There's multiple times that you have signs that are hung up in the neighborhood, missing cat, missing a little dog, and so we do still have a lot of that wildlife here in Colorado that a lot of people don't really experience in regards to predators taking, their favorite little pets away from the home.
Foo-foo is gone.
Foo-foo.
Yes,
Foo-foo.
we we don't have small dogs, but if we did, it would be named Foo-foo.
Yeah.
Anyways, we do. So, like he had said, being as far away from the mountains, we hear coyotes like every night.
We have a whole pack right next to the open space.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
Like we can't find them. We even got like binoculars, which
yeah.
actually makes us seem really creepy in the neighborhood. But we like have our little binoculars and we'll look out there because we can hear them. We're like, one day we're gonna find where they live. But we have this open space behind us. It's not that big of an open space, but eventually it'll close in a little bit. But they're still like they will find those open spaces and they'll be like howling at night and things like that. So
there's times that we see coyotes walking the trail in the middle of the day, and you think it's a dog, but really it's a coyote. And so you still have to be worried about that with the wildlife here in Colorado. Make sure you're keeping an eye out, making sure that you're leaving your cats indoors unless you're watching them do their thing. But it happens a lot. We oftentimes see those signs, with a missing cat or a missing small dog. And unfortunately, just wildlife gets the best of them.
Yeah, so let me just clarify though. You're not going to really have like a bear in your backyard 40 minutes away. Okay, it's very rare.
This on the east side of I-25, super rare.
Super rare.
If you're up in like Boulder, Golden, like even parts of Lakewood, Arvada,
maybe.
Good chance you're going to see a bear or a mountain lion, and so that's
But it's not all the time.
Yeah, that's kind of what people think about with Colorado.
It's not like safety issues.
Yeah.
It's like... Yeah, so I mean, if you're in the mountains now, you might see those things here and there. Like I used to live in the mountains with my dad, and the bears would get in the back of our truck and get into the trash can. Like they weren't like trying to hurt us or anything, but they wanted the trash. And so, in the mountains, of course, you're going to see some of those bigger game kind of things. You're going to see like the sheep, even in Golden,
big horn sheep,
big horn sheep, even in Golden. So right there in the foothills, but. Yeah. Typically, some of the bigger stuff stays in the mountains, unless you're in the foothills. So if you're looking at like Boulder, Golden. Lakewood, I'm going down the map, Fort Collins, some of those areas that you're right next to the mountains, you might see some bigger game, but not really,
Bigger game.
My dad was a hunter. Not any of those things, no bears. But anyways, okay, let's get into the fun stuff. So if you are moving into Colorado, the likeliness is, and I would say 80% of the people that come here are coming because of the active lifestyle.
Yep.
The rest of them are either retirees or, just looking for a different scene, but you're looking for the active lifestyle. And so you have to be active in a number of different ways. And we're going to go through kind of the top 4 things of what we think about moving here to Colorado. So the first one
is seasonality. And so I kind of wanted to back up a little bit because we just had a visit to Florida this last weekend, like looking at another property that we're purchasing down there. And a good thing is the agent that we're working with down there was from Colorado, or he lived in Colorado, and he went back there, and he says that he misses so much the active lifestyle that we have here, something that we take advantage of. We don't realize how active Colorado is until we go to these other states, and they don't have the same stuff that we have here to keep people active. You don't have the same amount of people who are active in the state as other states. Yeah. So let's talk seasonality. The good thing about seasonality, we do have all 4 seasons here, so with every season comes a new sport, new activity, something cool. So if there's something that you don't like in the summertime, there's a good chance chance you're going to find it in the fall or winter.
Okay, so let's kind of just throw out a couple.
Yep.
Okay, summertime, biking, hiking.
5Ks.
5Ks.
Yeah, 5Ks. I was getting mixed up. I always
We
want
don't
to
do
call
more than 5Ks, but there's also marathons. All the
yeah.
things above 5K
Yep.
exist here.
You can't get this booty to run more than 5K.
I'm like,
Got like J-Lo butt
I think
over here.
5K is good, but if everything else, if you're like a marathon runner or a triathlon, they have like a lake, right, for the yeah. Anyways, so okay, what other summer things really quick? So swimming, we have
Well, your
lake
summer
life.
sports, that's where you got your soccers, your summer balls, summer baseball.
Yeah, all the kids'
all your kind of summer camps for sports as well, too. So those always open up in the summertime. And then they kind of get back serious again in the fall time, correct?
Yeah,
With
so
sports.
let's go into fall. So fall, it starts to get a little cooler, but we get all of the activities built
Yep.
around the holidays. So we've got all of the harvest festivals. We have all of the little downtowns doing the
Yep.
festivals, but we also have the carnivals coming into town and things like that.
Yeah.
And then everything around Halloween and Thanksgiving. So we have
So yeah, you got your pumpkin patches. You know, you got the
corn
rides where they put
mazes.
you on the back of the wagon and you ride in it and do your whole
What's
thing.
that?
It's like they have the pumpkin patches. They put you
Oh.
in. It's like
I've never
a
done that before.
yeah. You get on, you sit on the hay barrels and
Now you have to take me. We're going on a hair barrel. Hay barrel.
hay barrel.
Hay-
No hay.
Okay. And then you get into winter. So we've got sledding, snowboarding, skiing,
Hay bale.
snowshoeing.
Hay bale. Hail bale.
He's stuck on it. He's stuck on it.
Now it's gonna be going in the back of my
More
mind.
snow. Keep going. I did all the basics.
So snowshoeing.
I already did that
you
one.
just, skiing, snowboarding.
See, where were you?
Jetmobiling. Snowmobiling, not jetmobiling.
Ice skating. And then, of course, everything around Christmas, which is just, everything. Santa's Village and all those things. Then you go into springtime. And I'm telling you, okay, yes, we have active snowbirds and everything here. But when spring hits, all the people come out because, you're doing hot cocoa and having movie night and like by the fire. We actually have a client right now. She's like, I don't understand why you would have a house in Colorado without a fire. And I'm like, I agree with
Like
that
a
statement.
fireplace or a
yeah,
wood
I
burning
agree with
stove.
that statement because you are kind of snuggled up. Like we have a fireplace upstairs that's not even a real fireplace. It's like those little
Gas one.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's like also a TV stand, so you can get those in case the house doesn't come that way.
Oh, you're talking about the electric one. I thought you were
yeah.
talking about our main floor one. Okay.
Oh no!
Yeah.
And so we have them on both levels, and some houses even have those built into both levels. But you're inside all winter long, and then spring comes, and everyone gets so excited. There's like this smell in the air that everything's happening.
Well, and I will argue that I honestly don't know the exact numbers for this, but I think springtime is the most popular time for skiing and snowboarding as well too, because it warms up a little bit. So people go up there. We still get quite a bit of snow in
We
the
do get a
beginning in
couple,
Q1 of the year. So people are still doing a lot of skiing and snowboarding. Don't have it the misconception springtime, no more snow. We still get quite a bit of snow all the way up until May.
Yeah, and then
Through May. Yeah.
Through May.
Through May.
And then the kids come out again for your spring sports. So we start seeing baseball and soccer and all those things that we see in the fall as well. But everyone's really excited because they've been inside for several months.
Yep.
Here and there. But and then we get back into summer. So clearly, so many, and we didn't even name the half of the things that happen here.
Yep.
But just know that they change based on season. All right, so that kind of takes us into number 2. Clearly, we could talk about activities all day, so we're gonna try to breeze through this. But that could take us into number 2.
And that is just that how easy it is to be active here in general.
Yeah.
I didn't realize until we talked to people outside of the state how vast our biking trails are here. Like Colorado and the Denver metro specifically, they have a ton of biking trails. Fort Collins is known across the nation for their platinum level, right? Platinum level biking trails. But if you have a bike, you can most likely get around wherever you want to in the Denver metro area.
They accommodate it, right?
Yeah.
So if it's not an actual trail like that, then they have a bike lane. They have so there. It's just so we were in Florida again, and we were talking to this gentleman that we met at the restaurant, and he was just saying, oh yeah, like there's just none of that trail system type thing here.
Yeah.
I try to get my friends to be active, and so we were like, oh my gosh, I never really thought about that, because then you start looking at all the places that you travel and you're like, yeah, they didn't really have that, and so it's just we take advantage of that a little bit.
Well,
so
Colorado, they are super serious about their trail systems here. Like, they love the fact if someone lives in the outlying Denver metro area that you could ride your bike to work. And so it's like they're constantly putting in new trails, trying to connect all the systems together that we can get in and around and all about in your bike, running, like all the awesome little things. And the good thing, too, is majority of them are non-motorized, so you don't have to worry about that little moped freaking cruising by or something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the last thing on this topic is one thing that we did not realize when we were talking to this gentleman out there in Florida, he was telling us, you know, it's really easy to be active in like Colorado because you have a lot of like more affordable options to be active. And we're like, well, what do you mean?
Yeah,
by that?
we didn't know what he
like, we
meant
didn't get
by
that. He's like, well, out here, like you got to have a boat or you had to have this, and like so it's thousands of dollars to like kind of have this lifestyle. And he's like, and even then you're out on the water and you're just, you know, like drinking. You know, like it's not like you can. I guess you could do push-ups on the boat.
Well, I mean, you can fish, you know, and so, but you know, the majority of people out there on the boat are probably drinking,
like hanging
partying,
out with their friends or whatever,
listening to music, doing the things.
Yeah. So here, you know, you could buy a bike for very affordable. You could buy a snowboard. You know, some of the gear gets more expensive, but not as expensive as something like a boat or, you know, even.
Well, think about the maintenance too and all that on the boat. I mean, we kind of tried comparing apples to apples. Okay, cool. Get a camper, right? But you don't really necessarily have to. You can still go camping in Colorado, throw a tent with some air mattresses down for under $500 and still enjoy the camping lifestyle without having to get that insane boat.
Right. So that whole.
Or insane camper, not boat.
So that whole like affordable option of being able to have very active options that a majority of people do for very like low cost and not have to go invest in something really big and still be active is really awesome for here in Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. All right, cool. So here's something else we want to hit on the active side. Being a Colorado pro, I got to make sure I keep throwing that in there, telling you guys, because if you listen to all these, maybe you might be a pro like us. I guess we're kind of like semi-pros over here. No, I think we're pro. Yeah, we're pros. We're pros. All right, cool. Now let's dive into number 3 on the active side of being a Colorado pro here, and it's not just all recreational. There's a few things that you need to worry about with your home that's still going to keep you a little active. The majority of it is based around the snow, right? Listen, if you buy a house here, if you don't hire a company who does come and plow for you, you're going to have to be, you know, the sidewalk, clearing the sidewalk of the snow, your driveway. If you don't have a garage, you're going to have to be dusting the car off, all the snow off the car. So that's something to think about. There are many local municipalities that they will fine you if you don't shovel the snow on your sidewalk. So make sure that's something that you're doing, but it's also going to keep you active here as opposed to a state that doesn't have the snow that you're having to shovel out.
Yeah, absolutely. This is no joke about sometimes shoveling here. And then, you know, think about your house as well and be prepared for that. So we live in a cul-de-sac, and so and there's only 2 homes in the cul-de-sac, and so Peter and the neighbor, they kind of take care of the cul-de-sac. Well, that's obviously a lot more shoveling and it takes a lot longer, and by the time he comes in, he's burnt like 500 calories. I'm like, wow, like you gotta work out. And he's like, yeah. And then, you know, sometimes there's some older neighbors in the neighborhood, and a couple of the guys will get together and they'll kind of help out the older neighbors. So definitely an active lifestyle. So just be prepared to either be in a physical state where you can do those things, or make sure that you look into, you know, hiring it out, so for your safety as well as avoiding any of the fines and HOA stuff that, you know, the requirements and stuff. So you are still active even if you're not physically on a bike or like riding down a mountain. If you're not
doing it for fun, you're going to get active one way or another.
Yes, absolutely. I was just thinking about, you have to walk to your mailbox in a lot of these newer communities. So unless you're going to drive by, which you can, but there's little ways to, if you're not like super active, there's little ways to still stay active and keep moving. I always say if you don't use it, you lose it. So find little ways to be active in your community, and there's definitely so many things, especially with the snow related activities, that you're going to find it.
All right, cool. Number 4.
This is my favorite one. So if you stuck around this long, thank you. Give us a thumbs up right now so I know who you are. But this is my favorite one. The best thing about being active in Colorado is that you will find a group here. You 100%, you will find your people. It might take a year, so stick around long enough to find them. But you will find your group, because whether you're a pet lover, help me go through things.
A beer drinker, a runner. Yes. I mean, it's not all just healthy lifestyle here, guys. Active is just a huge thing in Colorado in general, and it's not all about exercise. Like I said, I mean, the brewery hops, there's so many people who like all the time go to their favorite breweries, hop from here to there. They have the tours that they do in the breweries.
They have runs that they go from brewery to brewery. Actually, we're part of one of the brewery run clubs where you run the 5K, and then at the end, the brewery sponsors it, and then you get a beer afterward, which
we don't even. We don't drink beer, so I don't know.
Well, one of them was at the cidery. Yeah. The cidery sponsored it.
I don't drink cidery, though. Or cider.
Cidery?
Cider.
Clearly you don't drink cidery. But yeah, if you want to be active, you can even be active with beer. Okay? Yeah. So because there are groups out there that will make things active around beer. And that's not typically, you know, people are like, oh yeah, we're going to go binge out and drink some beer. Not here. You're going to be an active beer drinker.
Yeah, it's seriously, like, the biggest thing about it is just finding those hobbies. And a lot of them are active. It's not all about just exercise and fitness here. It's just enjoying something you like to do. If you have that pet, Colorado has so many amazing dog parks here that are incorporated into nature. So it's not just like like a fenced
Yes.
in green grass. It's like so you can walk. They have rivers running through it, and so we
Yeah.
love our pets here too. Like fur babies are a huge thing in Colorado.
Huge.
So many restaurants that love you bring your
yes.
dogs in. I actually just had a closing this morning where my clients brought their dog in. Super cool. So the title company allowed the dog to come in, and so we love the fact that Colorado is so friendly to our fur babies.
Yeah, so whatever it is that you like, you will find a group here. There's meetups, there's, oh my gosh, I don't even know all the places they advertise things. They send you things in the mail. Like everywhere you look, there's something.
We get a
for you.
magazine for our city too, like Thornton Guide
Yes.
activities or something,
Yes.
and they tell you all the great stuff that's going on, all the different festivities, all the different classes they could take, workout classes, sports for the kids, dancing
Yes.
lessons.
Different, the different recreational centers around and the things that they're hosting. And I mean, there is something around every corner. So if you stuck around this long, thank you so much for watching our videos. We do these videos for you. So if there's certain topics that you want us to cover or you want us to dive into any of these anymore, please let us know.
Yeah, guys, and of course I'm going to throw that phone number in below, right below right there one more time, because if you're looking at purchasing real estate in the state of Colorado, we are the ones that you want to know. So until next time, we love you. Bye.
Bye.
Over what it takes to be in Colorado. Be a Colorado pro. Well, I guess I don't know. Do you consider yourself a pro?
All the way down to what you drive.
Oh.